This is a time of change in the environment, and I want you to be in understanding of how that affects the way you feel, think, and behave. Essentially, things around us are currently changing as we transition into the springtime. Where I live is 66, or it was 66 yesterday on the highest, and a week before it was negative 33 on the lowest. Those are some very dramatic changes. But no matter what, right now we're transitioning from when it was very cold and then cold and cloudy or partially cloudy. That was pretty much very stable when you look at it from that perspective. That was a change we were experiencing over the last 3 months. And now we're transitioning from sometimes it's going to be warm and it's going to be bright and sunny. Sometimes there's going to be a lot of wind. Sometimes it's going to be cloudy. Sometimes it's going to go back to be cold. And that transition is constantly changing during this time of the year. Even humidity changes quite a lot. We might get rain, we might get snow. There is basically a lot happening in the environment, and that essentially kind of overloads our nervous system. We're constantly paying attention of what's happening on the environment. I want you to understand this. It might be new feelings that you're going to start experiencing. Things that perhaps were dormant over the last few months are going to start coming and arising again. An example was yesterday, I was soaking up the sun for over 2 hours. I was just working outside. It was amazing. And I was feeling a little anxious. I was feeling a little like worry about, what the future holds and so on. And I truly had to sink and dive deep into it and realize like, why am I feeling this way? Nothing has really changed. But in reality, I experience, and we all experience, neurotransmitters and hormonal changes when the weather and the environment changes. We might be producing some hormones at a different levels or frequencies and even timing. So right now it's getting very bright compared to 2 months ago. The sun is going down late into the day, and that has a change in your circadian rhythm. So the way your hormones are fluctuating in your body are changing. That might trigger certain feelings. Again, the more sun there is, the more cortisol our body releases, and the timing of that changes. So I want you to be aware that if you feel a little off, just look around and realize things are changing around us. I also want you to just be aware of what's to come. So as the days get longer, we're eventually going to be hitting daylight savings time, and it's going to be like a regression perhaps. It just truly depends of how you adapt to it and how you create routines, that whether you honor that or whether you skip it, or how you really, that at that point it comes down to really understanding the best way to adapt to daylight savings time. But what I want you to be aware is that this is the beginning of the yang energy. From now on, or we're going to see with the exception of daylight savings time, is the expansion of the afternoon getting longer, the brightness. There's going to be essentially a lot of activity happening in society. There's going to be a lot of sales going on. There's going to be, people is going to start waking up. Um, it was just interesting yesterday. I spent a lot of time outside, and obviously we got to take advantage of the nice weather, but you just see everybody on the street. There's a lot of socialization happening. Again, those are feelings that were pretty much just buried for the last few months. And what I want you to understand, that activation has a relation to the way you feel. So I want to prepare you, and I'm going to be creating more videos about how to transition properly into springtime so that you have essentially the best time of you that you have available for yourself, and not get buried into negative thinking. Because when you cannot control some of those maybe cortisol increases that create stress, if you don't know how to relax yourself, if you don't really know how to go into your psychology and calm yourself down and realize it's normal, it's just what's happening, you might start going down on a downward spiral. You might start doubting yourself, that confusion. That I have been there, and I want you to avoid that. So, a very good example of that will be grounding. Things that we want to start considering now compared to what we were doing in the wintertime. And a lot of this is relatively genetic, because I have to get to know a little more. I have to talk to you a little more so I can give you actual some custom advice based on your phenotypes, based on your genetic influences and the way they're being expressed right now. I can give you a lot more custom advice, but essentially, from a generical perspective, grounding practices are going to be very positive during this time of the year. Again, there's like an expansion happening. A lot of people that suffer from ups and downs are going to start going into like hyper mode and becoming too spontaneous. Essentially, if the person haven't had a very solid direction and might be still looking for options, this is an energy of taking action. And sometimes that action can go in the wrong direction, or simply can be self-destructive. So grounding becomes very important. There's like this energy of like the air, things are happening. We want to be connected and we want to be grounded and calm so that we can better direct our energy and the increasing energy that we're going to experience as the sunlight gets longer. So grounding practices like grounding outside when the days are nice, being able to be barefoot connected to the air and basically syncing your uh, frequency with the frequency of the earth, that has been scientifically proven to be positive. If you don't have that, when it's cold and you want to do it, there is grounding mats. You got to be careful which one you buy. But without even bringing any gadgets into our home, practices like breathing, like slow breathing meditation, like box breathing to calm our nervous system, you know, closing your eyes for 5-10 minutes during this time of the year, since you are going to sleep a little later during the day, is very natural. You gotta be conscious about a few things, which one of them is at night. Make sure that you shut the lights or you keep the lights not as intense. You might use some like key lighting. I use a lot of red lighting at night so that your cortisol levels don't spike and so that you can go to sleep earlier and easier, because during this type of the year, again, like hyperactivity can be one issue. So keep that in mind. Most likely you might go into bed later than you have been going to bed the last few months. So a thing that you can do is recognize that since that might be happening naturally, you just have to relook at your morning routine. It probably was very easy to wake up maybe at 5 in the morning, go to the gym when you were going to sleep early in the winter. Now that's going to start transitioning. So you might want to move your workouts in the afternoon. That's just, again, I can guide you a lot better once I have more information about your life and your genetics specifically and your phenotype. I have the tools to do that, but for now, that is actually like a very common place to start. And another one will be allowing yourself to take a nap if you feel the need in the afternoon. That might be just because of the sleep deprivation you might be feeling from going to sleep later and waking up earlier. And also it might be just a really good reason to ground yourself, to relax your nervous system, to take some deep breathing where you might not even fall asleep, but if you lay down, you close your eyes, you relax, that's going to be a positive influence for the rest of your afternoon. And it's going to help you decompress your nervous system. So we want to keep that in mind. There is a lot of list of things that we should be looking into it during this time of the year, and I'm going to be releasing them in other videos. But for now, I just want you to be aware and to enjoy the weather. I mean, this is a time of enjoyment, but just be aware that there's going to be some neurochemicals and hormonal changes happening on the background. So be grateful with yourself and don't hesitate to reach out if you feel something you want to share. I'm here. I'm just one click away, and I look forward to just having a great season. We're going to be launching the spring project soon. And within that, we're going to be launching a 5-day little project, like a 5-day challenge. We are working on it and I will be keeping you updated. It's going to be amazing to be able to do this because I have been able to discover it through looking into this at a very deep level, to be able to leverage AI applications, being certified into it. I'm working through it right now, so that we can give you just specific advice to you from every single angle that you can imagine. And I'm going to talk a little more in the future, but I'm extremely excited. Our method is already established and now we're bringing the application into it, and it's going to be amazing. So I look forward to supporting you and being your weather, your seasonal expert, and truly helping you understand how the environment affects your well-being. So I will see you in the next video.